What if I told you Google Earth captured something in the middle of the Chinese desert that looks almost impossible? At first glance, it looks like a gigantic creature lying motionless across the landscape. But where could something like this even exist? I opened Google Earth and traveled thousands of miles to Hongshanpo in Guizhou County, Jiuquan, Gansu, China. As I zoomed deeper into the desert, I noticed something strange. There was a massive shape surrounded by nothing but empty land, so I switched to Street View. And that's when things got even stranger. The image showed what appeared to be an enormous creature lying across the desert floor. Its shape almost looks like a giant body, with what seems to be a head and a massive back stretching across the landscape. Is it some kind of ancient fossil? A bizarre natural rock formation? Or simply an illusion created by the landscape and shadows? Whatever it is, seeing it from above is one thing, but seeing it from Street View makes it look like something enormous is sleeping beneath the desert. What do you think it is?
So a hill in the Gansu desert that looks a lot like a sleeping giant from orbit, and off we go. Same brain wiring that finds a face in a plug socket.
Did you know there's a tree that literally grows bombs and could seriously hurt you if one explodes next to you? Meet the sandbox tree, where somehow the explosions isn't even the first danger you'll face. Let's start with the trunk. As you'll notice, they're covered in extremely sharp spikes, or if you try climbing or leaning up against a tree, you'll definitely feel it. But still, this is nowhere near the most dangerous part, as of course the tree produces toxic milky sap, not only causing painful blistering and rashes on contact, but if it gets into those spike wounds you got before, the pain would be a lot worse, along with causing blindness if it gets into your eyes. So dangerous, even early indigenous hunters use the sap for poisonous arrows, or it could be used to just straight up kill fish by dropping it in some water. But now finally, the bombs. These trees grow these cute pumpkin-shaped fruit capsules. Looks innocent, but as the fruit ripens, its hardwood and shell begins drying out and pulling extremely hard against itself, building up so much tension it essentially becomes a loaded grenade, until eventually it literally explodes, launching seeds around 95 up to 150 miles per hour, not only spreading its seed but also causing some serious problems for you.
The tree seems personally offended you exist near it. Spikes down the trunk, sap that blisters your skin blinds you if it catches an eye, and seed pods that fire off like grenades at 150 an hour. Who signs off on that? We fence off nuclear plants, then let this grow by a footpath, which is kind of nuts.
Let's find out what's really living in tap water. I'm going to look at a drop of tap water under the microscope. Will there be microorganisms? Let's have a look. Oh, spaghetti! Ha, jokes. I was joking, that does not come out of your tap. It appears that there is not much going on in this sample of water. Well, in terms of life anyway. I even used my bacterial lens to have a look. A bit of debris, but may or may not even be bacteria. What water sample should we look at next under the microscope?
I keep waiting for one of these tap water videos to find something genuinely horrifying, and it never does, conveniently.
Alexa, when did you start playing music today?
Music started at 2:11 p.m.
It's early in the morning right now.
Music started at 2:11 p.m. today, not this morning.
Okay, first off, I don't think you're crazy. What I will say though is that there could be a logical explanation behind this. In this TikTok video that I got tagged in, we can see an Alexa playing music. The person recording asks Alexa when she started playing that music. Alexa says 2:11 p.m. However, the woman in the video states that it's very early in the morning, so this doesn't make sense, and they argue for quite some time about this. But first and foremost, the argumentative tone of the Alexa is what had a lot of people concerned. This does have an explanation. The AI has been updated, and it's meant to be more of a conversationalist. So, where it used to say, I don't understand, now it will kind of justify what it's talking about, and it might seem like it argues back in a snarky way. Second though, it being off about the time could be due to something like it being disconnected from the internet and it thinks it's the wrong time, or it could be pulling logs from a previous day and it could just be a simple software glitch. The comments on this video were filled with people stating that they thought Alexa is sentient now, that it argues back, and, I don't really think that that's the case, but if you don't like Alexa, then you should just get rid of it, I suppose.
You know, people going to learn that an update doesn't mean sentience. Hello and welcome back to another episode. My name is NEXOR for those of you which are new, and my job is to basically take you down this rabbit hole, and it's not to find the bottom because, well, if you've been doing this for any length of time, you should know that there is no bottom. It doesn't exist. It's a feedback loop. It's an infinity sign, but the idea is we extract the thread which we find down this rabbit hole and practice our discernment along the way as best we can. It's kind of like a course in inductive reasoning and discernment, I'll call it. But either way, look, if you are new, I'm going to ask you now to hit the subscribe button because we are aiming to hit 200,000 subs by the end of this month. Been a lot of things going on behind the scenes with certain platforms, and I'm looking to counteract the effects of that, so your help would be greatly appreciated. With how many of you are returning viewers which have not yet subscribed, we could absolutely annihilate that goal in about a day. So I'm just going to ask it now just to save the inconvenience later on. But for now, let's crack on with the rest of this episode.
Throwback to when this random guy was just renovating his basement walls one day and accidentally stumbled across the entrance to an entire hidden underground city. He was a farmer living in the country of Turkey, and since his chickens just kept on disappearing somehow, he began tearing into some of the holes in his basement and was shocked to discover what would soon become known as the largest underground city in the world. Its name is Debunk, and since it's been around since 370 BC, it's not positive who built it, but it was used as a bunker to protect locals from wars and natural disasters. So not only is the city over 18 stories deep and large enough to house more than 20,000 people for months on end, when it was finally abandoned at some point, it was so well hidden that it was basically forgotten over time. It was only when that local just so happened to stumble across it that it was discovered just how clever Debunk's design really was. Even the deepest parts of the city always had fresh food and water due to a complex ventilation system and a highly protected well, and every single level of the city was carefully engineered for specific uses like livestock, cellars, schools, and meeting spaces. There was even a place to make wine. And because of that random guy's discovery, Debunk is now one of Turkey's most popular tourist attractions for anyone to come see and enjoy.
Bloke tears into his own basement chasing missing chickens and finds an 18-story city under Turkey that once held 20,000 people with wells, wine presses, stables, and schoolrooms all carved out by hand. That doesn't even sound real when I say it out loud.
You heard Russell Westbrook. He said, keep having fun, AKA follow the script. Shut up. He's letting you know that this is all fun and games. And this is not as real as you think it is, allegedly. Did you notice how LeBron James looked at him like, bro, what are you talking about? He looked at him like, what are you saying? He said, keep having fun, win, lose, or draw. Meaning that it's all entertainment, guys. It's not real, allegedly. People are saying this is scripted. I've been saying this for a long time. This is no different than your favorite TV show. I'm telling you, that's why he retired. But LeBron must continue because his days are numbered. Shut up! His days are numbered, and he has to continue until further notice. But Russell Westbrook retired. What's the irony in that? He was telling everybody, oh, just play, man. Who cares? Win, lose, draw, just have fun. What do you mean have fun? You're here to win the game. I'm just playing around, guys. Entertainment purposes only. Russell Westbrook was probably just playing around. LeBron James did give him a funny look, though. You know what time is it. Let me know what you think. Of course, this is all scripted. You know what time is it, bro. Let's be serious already. I'm out.
This creative is constantly playing the same record of it's all scripted, but something tells me he is still watching it and consuming it with the amount of times he has come up with this over the months.
Did this guy just pull a lightsaber out of an air conditioning system? That thing is actually a UV lamp. And there's a good reason it's in there and probably should stay in there too. This machine is part of a large air conditioning ventilation system, so when warm, humid air passes over the cooling coils inside, water starts condensing on them, which unfortunately makes those damp surfaces a pretty nice place for mold and bacteria to grow. So a way to combat that is to have these UV lamps pointed at the coils, because this type of UV light can damage microorganisms' DNA. That stops them from reproducing and spreading across the coils. But you don't want to swing it around like a lightsaber unless you also want this UV lamp damaging your eyes and skin.
Far less sci-fi and far more real science. I'm here for it. A massive thank you to every person you see on this screen, because they are indeed the ones which actually support what I do directly from their own back pocket, and I never asked them to do that. As I've said before, I made the option available, and then people just decided to support, and I'm ever so grateful for that. And again, I'm going to tell you, if you want to show support in this way, there is no expectation. I am not asking you to do it, but it is there if you wish to support in this way. It does greatly help me with offsetting the cost of running this entire channel. It does come at a cost, especially doing it daily. The electricity bill is ridiculous because, yeah, the computer stays on nearly, I think it's like 18 hours a day at this point, just for rendering and everything else. It's crazy. But look, again, I'm not asking you. Your help and assistance and support is appreciated, but I'm not going to waffle on any longer. We've got a lot to get through, so let's crack on.
This North Korean is asking a North Korean questions that the internet wanted to ask a North Korean.
How heavy is Kim Jong-un?
He's as fat as the hatred of all 25 million North Koreans. He's as fat as the combined resentment of all 25 million North Koreans.
Are there animals that are native North Korea that we don't have it in America?
Most of the animals that used to live in North Korea crossed into China because they were starving. Then China put up fences to keep them from coming back. These days, the only animals you commonly see are dogs, sparrows, and swallows. Even pheasants are hard to find. So, what animals are left? I don't think there are many.
Next question.
Wait, I thought of one. There is one big animal.
김정은. Yeah. Makes sense? 김정은. I like that. 정은아 꿀꿀해봐 이제.
I'm sure that joke was probably a lot funnier to North Koreans than it was for us, but I don't know. Still, I don't disagree. Do you?
From the confines of my father.
I think I was at the Encino house.
To his Encino house.
What'd you say your name was? Michael Jackson.
Feeling genius, not my dad.
So I'm pretty sure that episode of The Simpsons was banned sometime after the Jackson Netflix documentary.
Imagine hating the plants that your neighbor has in their yard so much you decide to catch them on fire. And then after successfully catching those plants on fire, it then catches a house on fire. And that is exactly what happened here. This poor woman is sharing that her neighbor hated her juniper plants so much she decided to catch all of the bushes on fire. It looks like this angry neighbor was successful in burning all of her juniper bushes, except that fire then jumped onto the neighbor's house. Not the neighbor who owns the bushes this person hates, an innocent bystander who just happens to live next door to the juniper bushes this person hates. Why hate juniper bushes to the point of catching a felony for lighting them on fire? Juniper bushes are evergreen plants, meaning they stay green year round. With a lot of people using juniper bushes as like a border around their yard or flower beds because it's kind of prickly, but it's also really great as like a privacy screen. The crazy part being is that juniper plants are also the plants you see people lighting to cleanse out negativity from their homes, especially when they're moving into a new home. Those little bundles of plants you see lit with smoke, that's juniper and white sage. And the neighbor responsible for lighting these bushes and subsequently an entire house on fire denied that they had anything to do with it. Just got an update 4 hours ago. Emily sharing that the fire investigators came out and the neighbors across the street from the incident have Ring camera footage proving which neighbor started the fire.
So somebody hated a hedge enough to torch it and burn down an involved neighbor's house doing it. Is a felony over some junipers worth it? I really don't think so.
Most people don't know that blue didn't exist for most of humanity. Even the sky wasn't blue. And trust me, it'll make sense by the end. In almost every ancient language, the first colors to be given names are black and white to distinguish light versus dark, followed by red for danger and usually green and yellow for crops and ripeness. But blue is nowhere to be found, and things like the sky and ocean were described as shiny or wine-colored or green. And this happened because blue is so rare in nature that most ancient languages didn't have a word for it.
I always see blue did not exist shortened to they could not see it, which misses the point. They saw it fine. They had no word because almost nothing around them was blue. It's just not that deep. The bouncing bomb, right? Skipping a barrel of explosive across a reservoir to crack it down. Brilliant engineering, but horrifying lengths taken to murder each other.
So this girl was riding a horse on the beach one day when they accidentally hit a patch of quicksand, and since she just couldn't get him out, she knew he could drown soon. Since Nicole Graham loved her 18-year-old horse Astro like a best friend, she was devastated. They were right by the water, and the tide was rapidly rising, meaning it wouldn't take long for him to be completely submerged. So even though Astro weighed over 1,000 pounds, Nicole just began holding his nose above the water all by herself and just refused to let go. When rescuers eventually did make it to them, they really struggled to get Astro out of the sinking mud since it was so thick. Throughout all their different attempts using various tools, Nicole just kept holding his head up, kneeling in the freezing mud, comforting him so he wouldn't panic. And with just minutes left to spare before the tide would have drowned Astro, the rescuers finally managed to pull him up to safety. Nicole ended up spending 3 grueling hours holding him up, but out of sheer love, she never gave up on him. Incredibly, Astro actually came out of the whole thing practically uninjured and was back to his regular self shortly after.
I'm here for it. A little bit of wholesome news, which, you know, it can never really steer us wrong, can it? Not in today's world anyway, where it's just so vapid out there.
Not everyone wants to bite into crab shells, but separating crab meat from all the tiny pieces of shell hiding inside is pretty hard work. So some fancy pants restaurants shine UV lights over the crab meat because tiny pieces of crab shell can fluoresce under UV. That's when they absorb the UV light, which is invisible to us, and re-emit some of that energy as visible light, making the shell glow. But people still find new ways of losing a tooth.
A genuinely clever way to save your teeth, and somebody still bites down on a rogue sliver. Typical.
And they swim huge distances.
Oh, yeah, man.
A couple have turned up in Iceland. Did you know that?
What?
Yeah, I think 2 or 3 cases of polar bears that have swum from Greenland to Iceland and made it.
How far is that?
I'm not sure, but it's not close, obviously.
That's crazy.
It took the Vikings like 100 years to do it. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, and then
they can swim that far?
200 miles. 200 miles.
Whoa.
Are you? Hopefully, this isn't a myth. Are you seeing?
This one says it was shot dead after it did it in 2008.
So it's like the David Goggins of polar bears. It says, bro, I can make it.
Feel no pain.
Polar bear swimming 200 miles from Greenland to Iceland resets what you think an animal can manage, but in true fashion, we shoot first and marvel later. I hate humans.
This is how to stop a tsunami. Most seawalls are actually engineering failures that make flooding worse, and this experiment proves exactly why. First, look at a standard beach. In a storm surge, it's useless. The water simply rolls over the dunes, turning a community into a flood zone in seconds. Next is the vertical wall. Here is the fatal flaw. Without a beach to break the energy, waves strike with 100% force, creating a massive spray that overcaps the defense anyway. Now look at the common myth adding a slope. Most think this helps, but the physics shows a disaster. The slope acts as a ramp, accelerating the water and launching it directly over the wall. It actually makes the flooding worse. But here is the game changer, the recurve wall. Its unique geometry doesn't just block the wave, it redirects the energy 180 degrees back to sea. The result? Zero overtopping. Finally, there is rock armor. The gaps between the rocks break up the waves and absorb their energy before they ever reach the seawall. It's a low-tech, high-efficiency solution that stops the water in its tracks.
I'd watch this sort of physics demo all day. As for the verdict, ugly and cheap wins, more or less all of engineering, to be honest with you.
What's your middle name? Adolfo. Not Hitler. Not Hitler? Yes, sir. Oh, that's what you said. Not Hitler. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I heard you right. When you said not Hitler, I just wanted to make sure I heard you say that right. That's kind of funny. You do happen to be dealing with 2 Jewish detectives, you know, so I'm glad. Sorry about that. I'm sorry that was Jewish. No, it's just, I don't know what's wrong with my parents.
I feel like that was meant to be funny, but it just didn't land for me.
Please don't ever do this.
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the? Man, get your
what you are looking at in that video is 2 tourists walking off trail near the banks of the Grand Prismatic Spring in Yellowstone National Park. Now, as a reminder, the center of the hot springs in Yellowstone are about 87 degrees Celsius. So hot that NASA has listed them as one of the places on Earth that is inhospitable for life. And while it looks like those tourists are walking on the ground, it's actually just a thin, brittle crust that might only be an inch or two thick, hiding boiling, superheated water underneath. And beyond boiling water, thermal runoff is another major threat you need to worry about, and toxic gases coming out of the hydrothermal vents. 20 people have lost their lives falling into these hot springs. You don't want to be the next.
Just let natural selection do its thing. Did you know that more than 20 have died in those springs? Some the moment the thin crust let go under them. I won't even describe to you the horror that comes with that.
This container holds the world's deadliest bug, and I'm going to let it bite my hand under a microscope. But first, let's look at its life cycle. The world's deadliest bug starts out as a tiny larvae in a body of water. These will swim around and consume microscopic organisms and algae as food. After they level up a bit, they become a pupa. And this is like a cocoon that allows for the final transformation. The world's deadliest bug, a mosquito. And this one is hungry for my blood. So I let it bite me under the microscope. See that orange needle? That is extremely sharp but super small. It pierces my skin without me feeling a thing. As it consumes my blood, it hoktur and it spits saliva under my skin. And my body reacts to it, which is why I now form a nice itchy welt. This makes me feel uncomfortable.
God, I hate mosquitoes, or any other biting bug for that matter, bane of my existence. I'm like candy to these things, always getting bites everywhere, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't fascinated by this.
Fun fact, at the Muhammad Ali International Airport outside of Louisville, you'll see a very out-of-place patch of grass in the middle of the tarmac. This patch of grass is believed to be an ancient Native American burial ground that the airport developers left undisturbed, because in 1962, Kentucky passed the Kentucky Antiquities Act, making it illegal to damage, disturb, or excavate Native American burial grounds. Many scientists argued against this, saying excavating traditional burial grounds would allow them to learn more about ancient Native Americans and their traditions, but Native Americans clapped back, saying that by excavating and studying traditional burial grounds, you're disrespecting the dead and disturbing their rest. But since it's illegal to excavate Native American burial grounds, it's never actually been confirmed whether or not there are bodies in the ground. But after construction crews discovered some traditional artifacts near the area, while expanding the airport in the 1980s, they decided to play it safe and leave the area undisturbed, allowing the dead to rest peacefully.
So there is a patch of untouched grass on the tarmac at Louisville, sold as a sacred burial ground protected by law, though the small print softens the ban to without a university permit. Nobody has confirmed remains are under it because nobody is allowed to dig. Leaving the dead where they lie costs a mowing route, doesn't it? And that is the cheapest respect going.
Alright, cool. So right here, we've got a strawberry. I'm going to extract the DNA from it. Okay, so crushing the strawberry is going to release all of the cell contents and it's going to break the cell wall.
I'm Manny's beautiful assistant, by the way.
Okay, so now we're going to make the extraction solution. The salt is going to neutralize the DNA so that it can clump together. Next, we're going to add a little bit of washing up liquid. Now the dish soap is going to break down the lipids and proteins of the cell membrane. Now we're going to add the extraction solution to the strawberry. And then we just mix it up again. The next thing we're going to do is strain off the strawberry so that we can just get the pure juice. Okay, so we've got some rubbing alcohol here, also known as isopropanol, and this is going to cause the DNA to precipitate out of the solution. And right here, we have some strawberry DNA. Now, strawberries are octoploid, so they have more DNA than other fruits.
Yes, that was the future king doing a TikTok with some random British influencer. Anyway, you can pull the genetic strands out of a strawberry with washing up liquid salt and a splash of cold alcohol at your kitchen table, apparently.
I was actually on my way out of the Air Force and trying to get into the Peace Corps because remember, my priorities hadn't changed much. I wanted to see the world and I wanted to get laid. And I was like,
spread some peace, baby.
It's got to be the next best option besides the Air Force, right? So I was on my way there going through that application process and I was intercepted. What I actually saw was a screen that popped up that said, we recommend you pause this application for 72 hours because you may qualify for other jobs in the federal government. Perfect. Pause. And then I went home and I was like, I wonder what's going to happen. And then 24 hours later, I got a phone call from an unlisted number in McLean, Virginia, saying, we think you might have utility and national security. Would you be interested?
I see this guy everywhere, and that speaks to me more than anything he is actually saying on his PR tours. Think about it, and you might see the same thing.
What was your favorite scene to shoot with Sabrina Carpenter in the Taste music video? The chainsaw sequence. I think the chainsaw had some crazy name and reference to Sabrina as well. It was called like the Espresso 3000 or something. I swear to you, nothing about that music video was choreographed.
And the point is, what exactly? Because I see the same thing I always see with these videos, marketing through controversy. One nuclear-powered robot panning across an empty red desert on another planet completely alone. We built that and flung it millions of miles just to look, apparently.
Nobody has ever seen this before. Do you know what this is? Wrong. It's the sharpest ever image of the surface of the sun. The sun is not on fire. It's never been on fire, and you can see that in this time lapse. And it might help us figure out why this area around the sun, the corona, is significantly hotter than the surface of the sun. It's very weird. But this is insane. We're looking at a phenomenon that until now has only been hypothesized. Basically, all of this is plasma. And when we zoom in this much, we can see it swirling. We can see streams and waves of plasma. For some perspective, here's a size comparison of these structures and the Hawaiian Islands. These swirls are huge, and researchers have been looking for this. It's called the Kelvin-Helmholtz instability. These swirls are transporting mass, energy, momentum, and magnetic flux. And how it does that, how these move energy and magnetic fields, might play a role in how it heats the solar corona. The study is fascinating. Here it is. I highly recommend you look it up. It also makes a great phone wallpaper.
If it has come from NASA, respectfully, I am taking it with less than a microatom of salt.
A Swedish man claimed that he was fixing a leaky sink in 2006 when he crawled through an endless pipe and emerged in the year 2042, where he allegedly met his 72-year-old future self and compared identical tattoos. He recorded this video as proof, using his cell phone that he had with him. He was able to talk to his future self about things he would only know. The video shows the pair together, and it quickly spread online with the man saying, "I don't care if people think I'm a liar. I know I'm not. I met myself in the future, and I was fine. That's all I know." He didn't even elaborate, telling how he made it back to our timeline. The story immediately captured worldwide attention, with many people wondering if this was the first true evidence of time travel. The video went viral again when it was shared by the YouTube channel Apex TV, which shares all kinds of videos on possible time travel stories and supernatural events caught on camera. Skeptics, however, point out that the older man could simply have been another individual with similar tattoos, maybe family members that got matching tattoos or friends. Who knows? Others note that the video may have actually been made as a marketing campaign connected to a Swedish insurance company, which would be way less cool than time travel if it's true.
And somehow, somewhere, there are people out there eating things like this up like it's lamb chowder.
Pennies are sticking to the wall now? Hold up. Let's see. No way. No way, guys. The penny is sticking to the wall. What the hell is going on out here? Let me try it again. This better not happen, bro. I'm telling you right now, something is going on here, guys. Pennies are sticking to the wall. How? How is this possible, bro? Mind you, guys, there's nothing sticky on this. There's nothing sticky on this. Oh, my Lord. What is going on here, guys? Pennies are sticking to the wall, guys. Do it for yourself. I just did it. 2 of them stuck to the wall. Something's going on out here, guys. Somebody told me to do this. I would have never thought of that. I don't got time for that. Listen, things are different now. Check your quarters and nickels. People are saying that we're in a different energetic field. There's different energy around, allegedly. This is what people are saying. If you ask me, the same energy has been the same for a while now. Pennies used to never stick to walls at all. I remember doing this as a child. They kept falling off the wall. Now they're sticking, for real. Like, look, there's pennies still on the wall, look. It's been there for like 5 minutes, guys. Something is going on here, guys, with these pennies. You better check them out. I'm not sure what that means. Let me know if you know what that means. I'm about to go check my other pennies and do them one by one. Something is going on here, guys. I'm out.
Every few months, somebody posts a "the energy has shifted" clip, and this time there's a penny on the wall. They stay because the wall is faintly textured and he is pressing them on with a thumb, not because the corner has its own frequency. I am open to energy being real, but this is not the way to prove it. Awake meant noticing more, not less.
You've seen many things happen, change in your days, King?
Oh, yes. We live in a world of keys. The keys are just the same as they were when I was a boy, only larger. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. But when I was a boy, we didn't have the telegraph, and we didn't have the telephone, of course, nor the electric lights, nor any of these other things which have come up to bother us and help us. The good old days were pretty good. Pretty good. Don't you boys think that you're living in just the best time in the world's history? It's first rate. But it's no better than our fathers had, and I don't believe it's very much better than our grandchildren. Yes, that's Hudson over there. Nice little city. Why, I remember very well looking out of my window. I would see anywhere from 10 to 20, hardly ever less than 10 sailing vessels on the river. Now I don't see more than 1 in 3 months. Very few steamboats. Everybody went to New York then if they wanted to go in the new style. Why, they take a steamboat. If they want to go cheap, they go on one of our river sloops.
Back then was not better than now, and 100 years from now, we are no better than today. As long as the system exists around us, there is no better tomorrow and there is no greater yesterday.
If this hangs on your boat, let it board.
Ho, ho, ho. Alright, obviously you can play it by ear, you don't need to let the sloth in your boat, but there's no harm here really being done. This TikTok video that I got tagged in at first might seem creepy. We can see 2 arms grabbing onto the side of this boat with very long claws. That is until we see the animal that the claws belong to, a sloth. Now, most of the time when people think about sloths, they think about them hanging out in trees, being very slow moving, but a lot of people don't realize that they are indeed good swimmers. Now, of course, if a sloth doesn't have to, it's not going to want to swim. However, there are a few scenarios in which it might choose to do so. Most of the time when they swim, they're attempting to find new territory or potentially find new mating partners. On top of this, if their natural forest canopy is broken, they may need to move. Regions in which they live are tropical and wet, so water is everywhere, and it definitely pays to be good at swimming. In this scenario, this sloth is probably tired, hanging out, and trying to catch a break.
I'm oddly pleased that sloths are decent swimmers, given they kind of treat moving as optional. This one has clung to a boat's bow for a rest. If I could hang off something and let it do the work, I would totally do it as well.
Here's some crazy history you didn't learn in school. The US military at one point in time had considered dyeing all of Mount Fuji black in an attempt for psychological warfare against the Japanese during World War II. Michael Jackson's final public concert was the night before 9/11. Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins could not get life insurance for their trip that would cover any accident when it came to going to the moon on Apollo 11. So instead, they left a pile of hundreds of autographs with their families that could be sold in the event that they didn't make it back. This is a policeman measuring the length of a woman's bathing suit in 1922 because bathing suits on women were not allowed to be more than 6 inches above the knee. There was a British commander who ordered his personal bagpiper to play during the D-Day landings, even though this was actually banned by the British for the safety concerns. German snipers actually avoided shooting him because they thought he had gone insane. I'm a Dorian. Follow for more history tomorrow.
I find D-Day very interesting. Interesting among other things. I have so many questions that seem to not have satisfying enough answers to quench my curiosity, and I think you know what I'm getting at here. For the record, I am not a denier of any history. I just think there may be some missing details, but that's where I think I'll leave it for today. Thank you so much for joining me on this epic adventure. If you made it to this point and you're new, I hope that I earned your subscription. If I did, make sure you hit that notification bell. I do this every single day. And for the regulars, and well, everyone actually, if you enjoyed it, let me know what you enjoyed. Drop a like on the video and tell me what you want to see more of. Tell me what you want to see less of. I'm open to the feedback. And of course, stay safe, stay well, and stay curious. Until next time.